Welcome everyone, my name is Brendan Snyder. Thank you for joining me. If you're new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, I'm attempting to reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers, and if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. All right, we're going to take a look today at the 30th anniversary edition of the 1987 album from Whitesnake. It's sometimes known as just simply being self-titled and or 1987 being its name. This one here has 4 CDs, a DVD, 2 books, and a poster in it, and we'll go through that. But to give you guys a little context on the band and how we got to that, I want to jump back a bit and go through some history on this. So we've got David Coverdale forming Whitesnake following his stint in Deep Purple, which was from 1973 to 1976. However, he did release 2 solo albums before actually forming Deep Purple. He did the one that was titled Whitesnake, of course becoming the name of the band eventually, and North Winds. And the early sound was a more straight-ahead blues rock sound in line with Deep Purple. Later they would develop that more commercial polished sound that we know them for, like on 1987. The first EP that they recorded, or the first thing they recorded, was this EP called Snakebite, which came out in 1978, and then was followed by Trouble, the great debut album, also from 1978, and then Love Hunter, which incidentally is my favorite album cover of the band. I've always really liked that one, 1979. Now in 1980, with the release of Ready and Willing, this one here, they now featured 3 members of Deep Purple in the lineup. It had David Coverdale on vocals, of course, John Lord on keyboards, and Ian Pace on drums. So those 3 guys, Deep Purple, with Neil Murray on bass, Mickey Moody, and Bernie Marsden both on guitar. And that album actually featured the song Fool for Your Lovin', which of course later was a big hit in 1990. And at the time, David Coverdale was actually accused of reforming Deep Purple through the back door simply because he had those 3 guys in the lineup. It's kind of cool. I mean, almost like a little super group there at that time. They did record 2 more albums under that lineup, Come and Get It from 1981 and Saints and Sinners in 1982. And this album here, which actually is what we're listening to in the background, and it's got Here I Go Again and Crying in the Rain, original versions of those would later be re-recorded for the 1987 album. So this is where they got their start, and it's always cool to hear that development. Now in 1983, they recorded what would be their first really big crossover album, Slide It In. And that lineup was David Coverdale on vocals, John Lord on keyboards, Mickey Moody on guitar, but then new members Mel Galley on guitar from Trapeze and Cozy Powell on drums. And for the US release of that, their Geffen Records label insisted that they re-record the bass parts and the guitar parts on it because they now had new members in John Sykes, former Thin Lizzy guitarist, and Neil Murray was returning on bass. And so that 1984 mix was the first of the much more punchy commercial mixes of their albums. And that album, along with the 1987 album, Slip of the Tongue, that sort of trio of albums, solidified that new commercial sound that they were doing. That album featured Slide It In, Slow and Easy, and Love Ain't No Stranger, and was ultimately certified double platinum. Now, for the follow-up, which it becomes 1987, in 1985, when they started that, they began recording, but in early 1986, David developed a sinus infection, and so they had to put it all on hold. When it was completed, or the album that, the people that recorded it were actually David Coverdale on vocals, John Sykes on both rhythm and lead guitars, Don Airey on keyboards, and Ansley Dunbar on drums. But prior to the tour, David dismisses John Sykes and hires an entirely new lineup of the band. So again, him on vocals, then Adrian Vandenberg on guitar, formerly of Vandenberg, the band, Vivian Campbell on guitar, formerly of Dio and future Def Leppard guitarist, Rudy Sarzo on bass, formerly of Quiet Riot, and Tommy Aldridge on drums. Now they've got a real sort of super group in there with all these guys from these other famous bands in there. And so they do release the self-titled album, or 1987 album. It's their most commercially biggest selling album at the time, going 8 times platinum. Contained those re-recorded hits of Here I Go Again and Crying in the Rain. Of course, it also had Still the Night on it, which was just huge. Vivian Campbell did re-record the solo on Give Me All Your Love for the single remix version of it. And Adrian Vandenberg did record the lead guitar solo on Here I Go Again. So those two guys do appear somewhat on the songs for this, but ultimately none of the guys that recorded the album in full, at least, ever made it to the tour and beyond. So let's take a quick look at this, and then I'll give you a little bit of history to wrap this thing up. So we got a lift top box here. It's like the slided in version that you see behind me there. And this just lifts right off, like that. There's the inside, nothing in there. And then you've got the books. There's two of these in here. You've got this one here, which is a lyric book, and we'll thumb through it. We've got a cool poster that I'll show you, hardback book, and then all the individual albums, and we'll pull those out in here. But this first one here goes through, it's got cool handwritten lyrics next to the actual lyrics typed out on this thing. And I won't thumb through the whole thing just because it's a repeat of all that, but it is pretty cool to see David's writing and stuff like that. And then we've got a poster here, the original album art, just like in the slided end, similar in style to that. So you get a cool album, well, it's bigger than an album size, but it is square. And then you get this book, and I love these books. I think they just did such a great job with these things. And there's the start of that, and it's just got really great photos, written text, you know, 45s, you know, single sleeves, just everything you could get memorabilia-wise on the band. And it's in here in one place, covering that entire period. It was just massive for them. So getting to have all of that and see all that with the box set is just really cool. So I love that, the book with it. Now, before we jump into the albums, I just want to tell you a little bit about what's on them. So the first CD is the original album. It's the 2017 remastered, so it is a new one. CD 2 I like, Snakeskin Boots. It's a live show from 87, 88. There's 12 tracks on that. But my favorite part of these next two discs, you've got CD number 3 called 87 Evolutions on it. It's demos and rehearsals. And it's the entire run of the album and these new versions of it. And then CD 4 called 87 Versions, which is a 2017 remix of it. He put out an EP at the time that had 4 remixes, as Still of the Night, Is This Love, Give Me All Your Love. That's the one with Vivian on it. Here I Go Again. And then there was another one called 1987 Versions, a mini Japanese album, and it had Standing in the Shadows, which was a 1987 re-recording, Looking for Love, You're Gonna Break My Heart Again, Need Your Love So Bad, also a 1987 version. And then they've included 2 single mixes on here, Here I Go Again and Give Me All Your Love. And so you get that, and it's just a cool little snapshot, again, alternate versions of what's on the album. And the DVD has their 4 music videos from this, that trio of ones with 20 Katane in it. And then it's got some stuff like called Video Memories, the making of a small 30-minute documentary. And it's also got some later jams of Here I Go Again on it and some stuff from 1987 on it as well. All right, and so then you've got the discs in here, and they're all individual, and you just lift them out with that thing. But it's cool because these are done gatefold style like the original album was. And no sleeves, but it does have these protector plastic things that are in there. So you get the original album, and then you get this one here, 87 Versions. Really cool, and there's the back side of it. Snakeskin Boots. Again, I think these are just really well done. 87 Evolutions. And then the DVD, the videos itself. This one is not the gatefold. There you go. All right, so just wrapping things up here, for the next album, Slip of the Tongue, which was released in 1990, the lineup would change once again here. So the album was written by Adrian Vandenberg. Remember, he didn't write the last one. He did play the lead solo on Here I Go Again, but he writes the next album, but due to an injury, he can't record it. So they hire Steve Vai to come in, and Steve Vai interprets all his parts and record it, and you get a really great, sound from him on that. Now, Adrian did heal in time for the tour and do the tour. And of course, that album contained re-recordings of Fool for Your Love. I'll just give you a quick show of the album there. Fool for Your Lovin' on it. It was certified platinum. And then following the tour, David actually disbands Whitesnake to form the Coverdale Page Project with Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin. He does that for a little bit before he actually reforms the album or the band for the Greatest Hits in 1994, and they go back out on tour for that. And ultimately, they've made 5 more albums since then, culminating in their latest one, the 2019 release, Flesh and Blood, which is a really fantastic album, very classic sounding in my opinion. The lineup for this is Red Beach on guitar, and he's been in Winger, Doc and Alice Cooper. He's been with Whitesnake for a very long time. And then you got Joel Hoekstra in the lineup. He's from Night Ranger. He's playing guitar. Tommy Aldridge on drums from the classic lineup of Whitesnake. And then you got Michael Devin on bass and Mikhail Lupe on keyboards. I think I said his name right there. All right, I hope you enjoyed this. And if you did, please comment, like, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. And I hope everyone has a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.